this is today's topic, and most certainly something that we have so much to talk about. I would like to share with you some specific ideas that I have been researching for almost 20 years, and I have a book that is written, but there is still so many details for us still to complete. But I wanted to share some things with you because, of course, throughout history, we have addressed the same idea of developing and balancing our chakras through different names. Open the chakras, develop the chakra, or balanced, as I said, chakra alignment has been a term very much used today. But what it means to each person, it may vary from person to person. So let's here understand what exactly is this. And first thing that I would propose that we think about is what are chakras? Because most people, they would assume that a chakra is how they see in a drawing, for example, as we see through clairvoyance, a structure that is very well determined, that is inside of our bodies, and one that do not touch the other. They have very specific positions. Actually, it's not so much like that, because chakras are like an energy field. And like an energy field, each have different frequency, different position in a space that is not physical, of course, not in our physical body. So if we think a little bit about this condition of the energy field that composes chakras, we can start by considering the fact that here in our physical bodies, we have some sort of energy that connects us to our non-physical bodies, astral body, but then this energy that connects them both are what forms chakras. So our aura is composed of chakras, and our chakras is the element, or are the elements of us, our bodies, that is or are responsible for us sensing a non-physical presence like in a spirit, being able to have an intuition to capture some idea or inspiration from the spirit world. Also, for many of us, we have been or we are sensitive, like we can sense a presence that is not physical. We can many times distinguish when different types of energies are around us, good or not so good. All of these are senses and attributes that we manifest through our chakras, but through all of them in general. So this overall sum of chakras, which I like to call our chakral system, it's not in the physical plane, the physical dimension, but it's not in the non-physical dimension either. It's hybrid because it has to connect the physical body to the non-physical body so that we can be here, we can leave the body, we can see so many things, but we are still connected to the body that is now our vehicle of manifestation. Then let's think about what it represents to us in terms of the chakras, because this huge field of energy that we many times see and describe as aura, being composed of many different chakras, we learn that the chakras are energy fields with very specific characteristics, specific frequency, and specific information. They are somehow integrated in our system in this hybrid intermediate dimension between physical and non-physical, but they can be, some of them more related to our external manifestation, some more related to the internal functioning of ourselves as individuals and our bodies. So therefore, one chakra, they will have certain energy field, and it's not like the chakra is here and then stops and then I have another one here, okay, and then I have another one here. No, because all of this is full of energies. These chakras, they like permeate one another because they are of different frequencies in different dimensions or in different levels in this intermediate dimension between physical and non-physical. So This chakra will and can have many layers from the core or the root to the more external layers. It can have accumulated energies which can form blocks, and these blockages of energy can be more in the surface or deep down in the root, and they will produce different effects to us. But the point is, they can interact one another, and they will. But also, if we think about, for example, our chakra here in the forehead and our chakra here in the area of the throat, one and another, it's not like in this skips to this. There are many other chakras in between, but we don't recognize them, we don't acknowledge for different reasons that are logical. Because the chakras that we consider main chakras are those that, number one, are related to a more important function of our bodies. Sometimes a function that is for the survival of this body, but sometimes it's a function that is more emotional or mental to us. And therefore, that area or that chakra, because it's connected to that, becomes more active, has more energy, has more different qualities and movements and rhythms of energy passing through each of them. Therefore, we recognize them more because it becomes easier to see. But not only that, it's also easier to sense them. Therefore, when we sense them, and many individuals will describe the sensations, we start taking note, and that is we is throughout history, right? Since when chakras are studied? Since ever. But as I said, different ways have been used throughout history to give importance to chakras and to say when a chakra is balanced or not. What we would like now is to shed some light to it and put all of the information together, but not only the information that has been said because it has been said, and because it has been said because it has been written. No. Information that is related with research. I myself do a research that I have been doing for a long time on this, but also there are many different types of researchers, usually not so known, medical doctors, different scientists. Those that are more known usually are not the ones that have so much of new information into it. I said usually, I didn't say always, but I'm trying to make us think of how much new information is out there. And based on that, what we will notice is that the way the chakras are usually drawn or described can be many times based only in the physical vision of it, like how it's seen through clairvoyance and through some clairvoyant people, how it's felt, right? But we try to integrate into the scope of the study of chakras also the analysis of what happens in the non-physical body, in the non-physical or spiritual dimension. Because if chakras are connecting our physical bodies to our non-physical bodies, then when we are, for example, in and out of a body experience, we can learn a lot about chakras because we can see our energies, not always, but of course this is not to explain out of body experiences, this is to explain chakra, but there are many different elements involved in how we see it. But there are cases in which we can see our physical bodies, we can see the energy around, we can see how the chakras are normally manifesting. If we have, for example, a unbalanced spirit close to us that is connecting to a certain chakra, we can also see how that specific presence is affecting our chakras and how it looks like. So we can see so many things. We can see also how the chakras look like in our non-physical body, in our astral body when we are projected. So based on that, the idea is that we put together all the information that we know about chakras, but not only based on what has been examined in this level, but also what could have been examined in the non-physical dimension through astral travel. So That's what we are going to try to address here for us to understand what is chakra alignment or chakras alignment. Sometimes there are different ways of expressing chakras based on a color or a symbol or a geometric figure. And of course, that's super understandable because throughout history, we didn't have ways of communicating, and in many cases, in many cultures, or most, we couldn't even talk about chakras. So we had to resort to symbols, to different ways to represent the frequency of a chakra, for example, or the quality of energy, the type of energy that each of them have in their energy field. So, in many cases, when we see a drawing of chakras in our head, for example, they would have a different or like a superior level of shape or color, just to represent it's more connected to, of course, our awareness, the part of us that makes us conscious. But equally important is, for example, a chakra that is in the area of our stomach, because it's related to our survival. However, the density or the frequency of the energies there, they are different. And there are many different ways for us to work and try to align our chakras. And I'm going to comment some of them with you. Before I go to that, I want to tell you a personal case of mine. Let me make a note here. And this personal case I report in my book because I have a book about vibrational state. And I tell there that once, long time ago, I was still quite young, but I was so interested in studying about energy and chakras, right? We talk about chakras, it's like, oh, now I'm going to find out something super new, and we are interested, and that's true. I'm still interested, and I'm still studying and learning and observing and researching in many cases. Even when we do like in one-on-one session and we work with somebody, we learn so much. But at that time, just curious about that, I remember I went to a seminar and somebody taught us a technique to open chakras. So that was the expression at that time. And I was very disciplined. I got a cassette with the exercise, and I would do that like every given day, early in the morning. And when I did that, the exercise was based on hearing some sounds that they would change the tone, and at the same time we would think of a color and concentrate in the specific chakra that supposedly was corresponding to what they want us to think at that time. And I just went there, put the cassette and did it because I wanted to develop spiritually, to develop in my internal growth, and I wanted to become more sensitive. Okay, I did the exercise. But first day that I did it, I didn't feel so well. I felt a little bit like it drained me. That's how I felt. I didn't know how to understand that. Because the thing is, many times we are taught how to work with our chakras, but we are not taught about these non-physical aspects of the non-physical dimension of life that, even though we don't see, they are interacting with us the whole time. And when we work on a chakra, because our chakras are what connects us to our non-physical spiritual body and also to other realms and ideas and to objects, the objects I touch, the energy mind that I put there, they come from my chakra. So because of that, nobody teaches us how important it is to understand sensations and type of consequences that working on a chakra could have on us. So I lived at that time in a neighborhood that was a bit complex. Neighbors were not so nice. Many of them were very envious, and the whole place was not so great in terms of energy. I didn't know that. I didn't have experience enough to see the signs of that. Now I would more easily, but not then. And then when I did the exercise, or I would do, of course, I would become more open to all of that subtle non-physical reality that was there, and that would affect me tremendously. Because even though I was hoping to become very spiritual and whatever that was what people described, like being more spiritual and more psychically advanced, I was very sensitive. I used to feel presence sometimes in the room. Many times I would hear sounds or hear somebody calling my name. Long, even before that date, I was quite young at that time, maybe 17, 18, but since childhood, I would have been sensing different things with energies. But for me, that was not still what people were talking about, and I wanted more. But because I was already very sensitive and exposed to all of that, in the moment that I worked on my chakras, I became even more. So then I didn't become only sensitive, I became vulnerable. And fortunately, I am very pragmatic, especially when it comes to things that are spiritual. I follow my instinct, and that's one of the things that have been a blessing. And I recommend to all of you, you follow what you really feel inside of you. Don't follow appearances, don't follow what others are trying to tell you or convince you of. So yes, I did the exercise. I knew those were nice people who were teaching that. But then, when I didn't feel so well, next weekend I did again. And then in the third time, I just got the cassette, threw in the rubbish bin, which was the great thing I did. But I wish I had it now. I would examine it and see what sort of thing was there. But I remember were very simple exercises. And from the experience that I gained throughout these decades working in this area and researching, I can say that those guys there teaching, I was very fortunate because I ended up in a group that they had good intention. But again, they didn't have as much knowledge about these aspects of becoming vulnerable, of having to have self-defense in order to work on our chakras. So when we talk about chakras alignment, now that I have explained these basic concepts, chakra alignment is exactly the condition when all of our chakras, and when I say all, I don't mean only the 5, 6, or 7, whatever number is it that you are used to study, but those few chakras that we consider the most important. I'm talking about all, even the ones that don't have name and that we don't sense so easily. But in that case, when we have all of them equally balanced, open, and the word I like for it is active. Because when a chakra is active in a balanced way, it means energies are flowing, less blockage. It means the chakra is operating, is making whatever function it is supposed to. It's participating in our manifestation, either be that a manifestation that is more outwards, with our energies outwards, or something that's more inwards, inside of us. But the chakra is there participating, so it's working properly. It's cleansing itself naturally because that is how it's supposed to be for most of the cases. Some cases we need a good technique to cleanse it, but it's natural that it would cleanse normally. And when I teach my course about chakra, based on this research I mentioned to you, many times I show to people how often we feel chakras, but we don't recognize that of which we are feeling is a sensation of a chakra. In this case, then, people, when they have their chakras balanced and activated, one would make us feel a certain sensation. But then, if you have one, and the other, and the other, and the other, and the other, what happens is that our manifestation and our well-being, how we feel inside of us, it's so much more positive, more agreeable, because we have strength to think freely. We have strength to understand our emotions. So we are a little bit like in a slow motion. We can look at ourselves and think about what's going on in our energies and in our emotions and decide what to do. And if we have to be strong, we are going to be able to be strong. But when we have to be sensitive, we are going to be able to be sensitive. And of course, if it's just a matter of having the chakras in a certain activity, we can have different ways of doing that. We can even help somebody to do that. Many times when we are, for example, in a one-on-one session, or when we are, for example, doing some sort of mentoring or personal individual tutoring, we can do that and we can show the person how it happens and how to do it. But all of these methods, if it's a massage, or even if we, for example, we could resort to calming down inside, being peaceful, being able to have good energies around, because calming inside, if we are being bombarded, it's not so easy. We should be able to, right? But truth is, it's challenging in some cases. But when everything is perfect and we are in a condition that we are very well, naturally our chakras tend to be more balanced. Not necessarily 100%, but more balanced and therefore more aligned, because balanced means all of them are working properly with the intensity they were supposed to and serving the purpose that they are supposed to. But in this case, when we start observing all of these different conditions that we can use, and even when we are applying energies on someone to help them have that little moment that of balance that may last different durations. But the thing is, if we don't teach the person how to do it, it's only something that is palliative. It's just a temporary remedy. The best thing is that we learn exactly the characteristic of each chakra and which one we have to fix and tune in order to be able to put our energy body in a full balance. Therefore, all of our chakras well balanced, well aligned. Having said that, there is one phenomena that is an energy phenomena, natural. Many of us experience spontaneously, not necessarily all of us, but let's see if it's your case. It's a phenomenon that we call vibrational state, which, by the way, is the name of my book. But this phenomenon of vibrational state is a condition in which not only the chakras are aligned, but they become very active, as if the energy frequency of each of these chakras, that, as I said, they interpenetrate one another, they can move slightly, but they are connected to one function of our bodies and our mind. But in this case of the vibrational state, each of these chakras become more and more active, and they get to a point of a little higher frequency. And then we are going to feel that different parts of our body. But sometimes this frequency, even spontaneously, like this chakra activates and the other and the other, and it may reach in our energy body a resonance point, because then the frequency of this chakra with this and this becomes resonant. So the idea of resonance is when one body is vibrating in exact same frequency of another, or can induce the other to vibrate in the same frequency. So we see that sometimes in some theories of music and this sort of thing, but in terms of energy in practice, it happens. That's why we have synchronicities, we have predispositions. But in this case, when we have all of this natural alignment, we have this strong, super strong vibration inside of us, not outside, and that is called the vibrational state. There is one technique to produce the vibrational state. Of course, vibrational state can happen spontaneously, but if you want to produce it, you have to produce the healthiest condition of your chakras and make them all as balanced as possible, as unblocked as possible, as healthy as possible. And the best technique that we consider to do that, as I said, There can be different methods. Even calming down is a method and it does work. But among all the methods, we consider the Velo, VELO, which stands for Voluntary Energetic Longitudinal Oscillation. But we consider Velo the most efficient because more quickly and directly we go to the point and we have a chance of balancing out, cleansing, unblocking, and therefore putting our chakras in the condition that is necessary for the energies and the chakras to get aligned and balanced. And that will give us a lot of stability in terms of energy and self-defense. I think we have to develop our chakras in the same degree that we develop our self-defense, because we need to understand when we have sensations that are somehow produced on us due to external factors. Therefore, among the many different techniques to align chakras, and they include even yoga, I love yoga for that purpose, but the more direct one is Velo. If you want to know more about this, make a quick search on YouTube. You'll see some. I have videos that I have recorded teaching how to do the Velo technique, just because I consider so important technique that we taught there. But you can also have a lot of information that you can find in the Consciousness Development Program of the IAC. That is much longer program with lots of details. And the more we can have a broad vision of this reality, physical, non-physical, energetic, the more we can control all of these aspects. That's why we place so much importance and emphasis in a program such as the Consciousness Development Program. But if you take a look at the IAC YouTube channel, it's called Consciousness TV. And if you take a look in my channel, that is Nanci Trivellato, Energize Your Evolution, you will find on both information about Velo, okay, and how to do it. And if you want more, you can always ask, leave your comments down below. We are going to read it. Leave your experiences. Have you ever had some sort of chakra opening exercise? Did you feel your chakras? How did it work for you? And let us know also, please, what topic you would like us to cover, because chakra, we could talk here for 10 hours, literally. And I have to refrain myself not to go too far. Sorry, we are here now past the time that we were supposed to finish, but I wanted to conclude the idea well. So please leave in the comments what else you would like to hear. And if the video was useful, please give us thumbs up. That is very helpful. And share if you think a friend of somebody or a group that you are in would appreciate knowing this perspective of the information about chakras and chakras alignment. It was a great pleasure to be here with you. Let me see here if I have questions, and then I would answer them. Lots of hello. Oh, so nice to see you guys here from so many different places, even from France. Very nice. I'm glad you are here. No headphones. Okay. Okay. Miriam cannot understand a word. Okay. And then I have a question here that actually Velo, somebody made a very nice here pun, that is Velo, very enjoyable learning opportunities. Yes, why not? And please feel free to ask what else you would like to know. And we are going to see. Here we have Edgar asking, when is the last time I had an OBE? Probably like 3 weeks ago or so. I do not know precisely, but a few weeks ago. And we are in a moment that we are needing lots, right? To relax, to help people. So difficult phase we are going through. Anyway, guys, I do not want to make this video too long. I appreciate so much that you have been here up to now. And I look forward to seeing you. Remember, we are here. We have a date with you every Sunday at this hour. Different topics, different instructors. Take advantage. Big hug to you. Bye-bye.